A couple called me last month ready to give up on moving. They bought in 2020 at right around 3% interest rate on the mortgage. And their payment today is about $1,600 a month. And they built real equity and they want a bigger house because their kids are stacked into one room and there's nowhere left to put anything. They ran the numbers on that new house themselves, saw a payment more than $1,000 higher, and they froze. And I told them the same thing I'm going to tell you. Before you walk away from the move, run the real numbers with me first, because the math they ran was missing 4 things. Today I'm going to show you the 4 levers move-up families like you are using right now to close that payment gap, and how to stack them so the jump is nowhere near as big as you think it is, guys, in your payment. All right, I'm not going to sit here and pretend rates don't matter. They do. As of today, we're sitting around 6.5% on 30-year fix, which is historically normal. And if you locked something in the 3s a few years back, yeah, I mean, that number's going to sting. It stings when you look at it. I know it does. But here's where almost everybody gets stuck. You're taking your current payment on your current house and you're comparing it to the worst case payment on the new house. Full price, small down payment, today's rate, no help from anyone. That's not the real number. That's the scariest possible version of that number. And then you're making a life decision off of it. So let me walk you through the 4 levers, and I'm going to save the most powerful combination for the end. Lever 1. This is the one nobody runs, and it's the biggest. It's your own equity. Here's what I mean. Your equity is the cash you'd walk away with after you sell, after the mortgage is paid and the agent commissions come out. Now, most move-up families are sitting on a real pile of it and treating it like it's frozen in the walls. It's not frozen. It becomes a down payment on the next house. Here's how the math actually moves. I mean, say you're buying a home around $520,000. If you put a small amount down, you're financing something close to $494,000. But say you roll a big chunk of your equity in, and now you're only financing $320,000 instead. That's a difference of $174,000 in loan balance. And on a 30-year loan at today's rate, that's not a small tweak to your payment. That's roughly $1,000 a month gone just from using money you already have. The equity you build at a 3% rate is literally what funds the move up. That is the single number most people never run, and it changes the entire decision. Now, I want to be honest about who this works for and who it doesn't. If most of your net worth is locked in the current house, this lever is everything. If you only owned a couple years and equity is kind of thin, it does less. And we lean on the other 3 levers to get your payment down. And yeah, I know the real fear here. Your equity is stuck until you sell, and you're scared to sell before you got somewhere to go. That's a real sequencing problem, and it has real solutions, but that's its own conversation. So hold on that thought. Lever 2, the seller paid 2-1 buy down. In plain English, a buy down is when money gets set aside at closing to temporarily knock your interest rate down. With a 2-1, your rate drops 2% in year 1, 1% in year 2, and then settles at your real rate from year 3 on. So on a note rate around 6.5%, year 1 you're paying like it's 4.5, year 2 like it's 5.5, and year 3 the real rate. Here's the part most people miss. The best way to do this is to have the seller fund it. And you can ask for seller concessions, especially in certain markets, and I've been seeing a lot of those lately. The money to buy that rate down gets deposited into an escrow account at closing, and it can come out of the seller's proceeds, not your own pocket. On that $320,000 loan, the year 1 payment drops several $100s a month compared to the full rate payment. And in a market where houses are sitting longer, this is absolutely on the table. So you always ask for the max concession. On an FHA loan, 6%. On a VA, it's not 4%. I've seen it as close to 8 or 9, depending on how you structure it. But we can talk about that later. Now, you just have to have a good agent. You have to ask for it in the offer, in writing as a seller concession. Now, who is this for? It's for families who want breathing room in early years, especially if your income is climbing. All right, so who's it not for? If you're going to refinance in the first year anyway, you can lose the unused buy down money, or it's just a principal pay down. So, that money could have gone to a permanent buy down. So we'd structure it differently. All right. Make sense? Your goal is drive the train. Lever 3. This is the one most folks have heard of and don't fully trust: the adjustable rate mortgage. Here's the plain version. A 7-year ARM gives you a fixed rate for the first 7 years of your loan. And only after that does it start to adjust. 7 years is a long runway. And the trade is that ARM usually prices lower than 30-year fixed, sometimes 0.5% to a point lower right now. You never know. On that same $320,000 loan, dropping your rate half a point or more takes real money off the monthly payment for 7 full years. And you're buying the house you actually want now with a built-in plan to refinance it if rates come down before that fixed window ends. But I'm going to give it to you straight, guys, because this is where I earn my keep. So if you plan to stay in this house for the next 30 years and never touch the loan again, an ARM is probably not your move. The whole point is the exit. You realistically see yourself refinancing in the next 5 to 7 years. When rates ease, the math works and it works well. But if you don't, take the fixed rate and sleep easy. There's no wrong answer. There's just the right answer and for your timeline for your family. And here's the part I actually want you to walk away with, because any one of these alone helps, but the real power is stacking them. Now watch what happens when you combine lever 1 and lever 2. Big equity payment brings the loan down to $320,000. Then the seller funds a 2-1 buy down on top of it. Remember that couple from the start? Their scary worst case payment was close to $2,900 a month, and that's the number that almost made them quit. Now after we rolled their equity in and got the seller to fund the buy down, their year 1 payment landed under $1,600. Same house, completely different decision. And here's the kicker. If they refinance in about 24 months when rates settle lower, that payment doesn't jump back, it stays down for good. So how do you know which levers are yours? Roughly, it goes like this. If you got strong equity and you're buying in a market where sellers are motivated, you lead with your equity and layer the buy down on top. If your equity is thinner, but your income is solid, and you lean on the ARM, and then you negotiate the buy down. And if you're in a tight market where sellers won't move on concessions, you combine your equity with the ARM and bring the payment down it yourself. There is almost always a combination that closes the gap. The mistake is not running one at all. Scaring yourself and walking away for another 2 years, hoping the market gets better or rates drop, while the house that you want, goes out the window and the house that you have gets smaller around you. And look, I haven't even touched the sequencing piece today. The how we buy the next one before this one sells, so we're never stuck between houses part. That's real, that's solvable, and it's exactly the kind of thing that depends entirely on your numbers, which is the whole point. Everything I just showed you is a general version. Your equity, your target home, your income, your timeline, the market you're buying in, these are what decide which combination actually makes sense. So if you want me to run these levers for you specifically for your situation and show you the real payment, and that's a scary worst case one you see on Zillow calculator, there's a link right below in this video to grab a time on my calendar. And we'll build your actual numbers together. You are not stuck because of your rate. Your rate is one number in a bigger plan. All right, this helped the fog clear a little. Do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, because I break this stuff down every week for families trying to make the move just like you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.